So what does it taste like? Not great raw. Plant-based meat. What the heck is it? What's it made of? Why would you eat it? And most importantly, how do you make it delicious? When I was forced to,
Bring it back.
when I was asked to develop 20 recipes made completely from plant-based meat, I was pretty nervous and skeptical. Why would I want to work with this weird fake food that I know nothing about? I love a good steak, I love fresh vegetables. I'd rather not cook with a meat substitute, but I know that eating less meat is good for the planet. And as a test cook, I love a challenge, so I was all in. We're gonna make the ultimate plant-based cheeseburger, the double smashy, complete with plant-based cheese sauce. And along the way, I'm gonna teach you some of the tips and tricks that we learned during testing. Let's get to the meat of the matter. When we started recipe development, we got in 10 different brands of plant-based meat, and we used it in 2 common applications, a weeknight chili and a regular burger. And the results surprised us. Some were okay, some were terrible, watch out, and some were pretty good. And this was dramatically different from 6 years ago when we were working on the vegan book. Back then, the only thing that was available was this, soy crumbles. And frankly, when it comes to making burgers, we knew these were a non-starter. Like, we didn't even try. They could work well in a taco filling or a weeknight chili, but here, they were no good. Fast forward to today, and it was this next generation of plant-based meats that really impressed skeptical test cooks. Impossible was our winner because it behaved the most like regular meat. It had a neutral, meaty flavor and took on other flavors really well without having a distinctive flavor of itself. Let's see what it's made of. When we looked really closely, we were impressed how much it looked like real meat. There's some fats, which you need in a good burger to keep it juicy. You can see here the flecks of white. That's coconut oil. That's a saturated fat. That will stay solid at room temperature, but will render out once heated, which will give you a juicy experience when you're eating it. I mean, it behaves like beef, but it actually looks like it too. And that's because of the protein heme. Now, this is typically found in blood and in muscles, and it's why your steak is red, but there are plant-based sources of it as well, and that's what they use here. So what does it taste like? Not great raw, but neither does supermarket ground beef. When we cooked it, that's when things got exciting. First things first, let's form our patties. We're gonna make a very high-tech burger forming device. I've got a 1-quart Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna snip down the edges. You wanna leave the bottom seam intact. The reason why we're using such an amazing tool is that we really want very specific shaped patties. We're gonna make 8 patties for 4 burgers. That's 2 patties per burger. So I'm gonna divide this 12 ounces of plant-based meat, minus a nibble, into 8 balls. Now, when we were doing our initial testing, we found that it was the browning that really impressed us. The mild reaction that takes place when proteins undergo heat in the presence of carbohydrates. And it's what gives steak that amazing crust, it's what makes a burger brown, and frankly, it's what makes brown food delicious. What we really loved was the exterior of the burgers, the brown bits. The inside bits, they tasted good, but they didn't blow us away. So we wanted to make thinner patties, which will give us less of an interior and more of that amazing crispy exterior that really, really impressed us. Here we go, and that's all the balls formed. Now I'm going to shape these into patties. So we're going to open up our Ziploc bag, place a ball in the middle, and close it. And then using a clear pie plate, you can also use a baking dish as well, press it into about a 3.5-inch patty. Unpeel it, and you can flip it straight onto your baking sheet. I'm going to smash the rest of these. They are a little bit fragile, so we're going to set them in the fridge for 15 minutes so they can firm up. But you can also keep them for up to 24 hours as well. While these are in the fridge, we're going to make our plant-based cheese sauce, and this you're going to love. What's better than a hamburger? A cheeseburger. So we knew we had to play with some vegan cheeses. Most plant-based cheeses were melty, but only kind of. They didn't really get us that same amazing oozing cheese sauce that you think of when you think of that incredible fast food cheeseburger. So feeling stuck, we remembered my colleague Nicole's amazing nacho cheese sauce that she worked on for the vegan book 6 years ago. For that, you need to use overcooked vegetables. I've got 12 ounces of russet potatoes that I've peeled and cut into 1-inch pieces. I've got one small carrot that I peeled and cut into half-inch pieces, and we're going to cook them to hell. We want to release their starch so that when we blend them, they're going to turn into a smooth, creamy sauce. I've just drained these. I've cooked them for 12 minutes, so they're completely tender. You can see they're steaming, they're hot, they're overcooked. Perfect. We'll transfer them to a blender. I've got a third cup of water, because we need a sauce. 2 tablespoons of veg oil for a little bit of richness. 1.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. So this is an absolute favorite ingredient for vegan dishes. It's got such a savory, cheesy flavor. You know, it's basically baker's yeast that's been deactivated. I've got a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of distilled white vinegar for a little bit of tang, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of mustard powder. Now mustard powder just really punches up cheese flavors. We'll pulse this 10 times until finely chopped and scrape down if need be. The reason we pulse is so that you can really break it all apart, and then you can scrape it down so that in a minute the vortex will be created and we'll get that super creamy sauce. We're going to blend this at high speed for 2 minutes until completely smooth. Boom. Now that is super smooth and super melty. This is going to be awesome on our burger. So you can see it's hot. We want to keep it that way. So cover up the blender. And now we're going to make one more sauce, because we need 2 sauces to make the ultimate plant-based cheeseburger. Now, every self-respecting fast food joint has a chef's special sauce. They adhere to the golden ratio, 2:1. That's 2 parts mayo to 1 part ketchup. And you see so many variations of this. So I've got 2 tablespoons of plant-based mayo, 1 tablespoon of ketchup. You get the creaminess from the mayo, a little bit of that vinegary tang from the ketchup. Half a teaspoon of sweet pickle relish, that fruity sweetness. Sweet and sour punches up so many flavors, so we're going to accentuate that here. I've got half a teaspoon of distilled white vinegar and half a teaspoon of white sugar. And to that, we're just going to add 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Mix it up and check your results. Perfect. Sauces are made, the burgers are chilled, I'm starving, let's get cooking. Now these burgers are going to cook quickly, so it's important to make sure that your buns are ready so we can eat them when they're still hot. So we're going to divide the sauce between the 4 bun bottoms, to be about a tablespoon each. Divide some shredded iceberg lettuce between them. Now of course you could use whatever burger toppings you like. These are just my absolute favorite at the moment. Now plant-based meat is already seasoned. There's sodium in the mix, so you don't want to add as much salt as you normally would to a burger. So just season them lightly with a little bit of salt and pepper. You know, as we usually do, it's always a good idea to season from up high so that you get an even coverage. And you don't need to season them on both sides because they're pretty thin. Hit them with a little bit of pepper. And we are so ready to cook now. Cooks Illustrated has an amazing smash burger recipe. So we wanted to try it using plant-based meats. The problem is they use a cast iron skillet, and that failed abysmally with plant-based meat. It just stuck so badly we knew we had to try something else. So we turned to a non-stick skillet, or in this case, my favorite pan, a well-seasoned carbon steel pan. Now we're gonna heat up a tablespoon of oil, which is in there already, over high heat, and we wanna get it ripping hot. So we need to wait till it's smoking. That tells you it's super hot, between 400 and 450 degrees, which will give us an amazing crust in no time. The pan is ripping hot, so let's get the patties in. Now these patties are a little bit delicate still, so it's a good idea to use a spatula. Drop them straight in. We found during testing that if you use your hands, they can fall apart. Even though they've been chilling, they have less structure than regular meat, and they're pretty thin too. Now we're going to weigh it down with a Dutch oven wrapped in aluminum foil, just for easy cleanup. This will ensure maximum contact with the pan, so we get amazing browning. Super satisfying. This is going to cook for 1 minute. I'm going to go get my cheese sauce from the blender. Let's see how it's doing. Oh yeah. You can see the lacy edges around the side. They're ready to flip. You can actually feel the crisp crust underneath. And these just need to cook for another 15 seconds until they're just cooked through. They smell so good. You get that savouriness, you can see the crispness. So we're going to drop these straight onto our bun bottoms. Then we're going to hit them with our cheese sauce. It looks so glossy. And let's repeat with the remaining 4 patties. There's already enough fat in the pan, so we don't need to worry about adding any more. Just get the pan up to smoking again. Okay, we're going to add our 4 remaining patties to the smoking oil. So we're using double the number of patties. So we get double the number of sides, double the amount of browning, double the amount of deliciousness. Oh, I love that sound. Boom. You know that sound is just creating that amazing crust that is going to give you that amazing texture and flavor. Okay, let's flip them. Oh yeah. Just give them a little kiss on the other side, and they're ready to serve. Then we're going to hit it with more of our cheese sauce. It really coats the burgers well. I've got some finely chopped onion, that extra little bit of allium bite, some dill pickles, and we have our burgers. Let's eat. That is so good. With a regular sized patty, you can really tell the difference between plant-based and beef. But with dimensions like this, with the crispy edges, with the sauces, the seasonings, they're almost indistinguishable. You will impress everyone with this burger, vegans and non-vegans alike. What are some of your favorite plant-based meat recipes? Are there any out there that you'd like to try but you haven't yet? Let me know in the comments below. And check out americastestkitchen.com for the double smashes recipe, the cheese sauce recipe, and so much more.